Scoob, we have another movie that was meant to go to theaters, but due to the pandemic, the studio has decided to release it straight to video on demand. This movie shows us the origin of how both Shaggy and Scooby met, and honestly, the whole childhood origin of both Scooby and Shaggy is the part of the movie that I personally had no interest in. I mean, even as a kid, I never cared about how Shaggy and Scooby met. It's a cartoon, and it's something that you just buy into almost immediately. The thing that you really want to see is the mysteries they go on. We'll get to that in a minute. After young Shaggy and Scooby meet the rest of the young crew, the movie has a montage which is pretty much a CGI remake of the original opening, which was pretty cool to see and brought some nice memories back for me. And the CGI animation in general in this movie is pretty good. I mean, it's not on the same level of impressive visual quality as the recent Star Wars The Clone Wars, but for this kind of movie, it does its job very well. Now this movie references a lot of other Warner Brothers properties out there, and I swear this movie referenced one of the scares from The Conjuring with a ghost in and on top of a wardrobe, and they even referenced the It Chapter 2 mirror scene, and I didn't really find them funny. They could have made them funny, but apart from copying the setup, they didn't really do anything to spoof it, which actually would have been very appropriate if they did, but without it, it just feels like one very random inclusion to the next. And I'm just gonna come out and say it. The pacing of this movie and the way it unfolds a story really bored me. I was 28 minutes and 53 seconds in when I paused the movie, and I didn't know if I could take it anymore. I really didn't like the direction the movie was going, and I just wanted to turn it off. It was also around this time when I realized that Fred, Daphne, and Velma are pretty much some of the worst characters in this movie. Don't believe me? Think I'm jumping to conclusions? Well, that's what I kinda thought at first. But then, they made this dumb joke.
And apparently he's been stealing Netflix by using his mother's account.
That is not fair for the rest of us who have to pay for Netflix.
You have to pay for Netflix?
This will not stand.
Oh burn, you really got Netflix, or some of us that share Netflix, I suppose. Yeah, this is a stupid joke. And there are a lot of other jokes that don't hit in this movie. Honestly, Daphne makes me feel annoyed, Velma makes me feel bored, and Fred makes me feel like I'm losing brain cells.
Get with the program, Fred.
Oh, you mean like your program? I'm Velma. Boop, beep, eat, merp, merp. Our world is ones and zeros.
And the amount of unfunny and forced pop cultural references are unbearably bad, and the movie's attempt at trying to pander to the smartphone demographic, it was also really bad.
Brian, quit putting filters on your selfies and get in the game.
Whoa, what do you think I'm doing? I'm putting my social media feelers out there, Dino Butt.
Also, the villain in this movie is Dick Dastardly. Now, he was my favorite character in the movie. Some of the other Hanna-Barbera characters are in this movie too, and if they aren't actually in it, then they are referenced. And honestly, this is something I was looking forward to see in this movie, but unfortunately, anytime the movie shows Dick Dastardly or the other Hanna-Barbera characters, it feels like you're watching a completely different movie. As good a concept as this was, the characters didn't seamlessly fit into this world, and it just felt off. And something about this movie in general is that it feels overly kid-friendly. Scooby Doo is one of those things that even though it's primarily aimed at kids, it's still easily accessible for even adults to sit down and enjoy with their kids. But Scoob very much feels like it is only meant for kids. There are some admittedly funny jokes that openly mocks the Scooby Doo franchise as a whole and stuff, and those were fun when they came around, but there wasn't enough of them, and it certainly wasn't enough to help this movie. And then you have superhero jokes and a superhero plot line, such as the hero who is really a coward and is hiding every time a threat is nearby. And again, this joke seems very out of place for a Scooby Doo movie. I mean, I know this movie is meant to be fun for kids, but it's not like when you make a horror movie that was meant for kids because kids aren't allowed to watch horror movies. They are making a superhero version of Scooby Doo for kids, and kids are able to watch superhero movies. It's not like this is their only option for watching films in that genre, so why they decided to go the superhero route really baffles me and makes no sense. Kids aren't dumb, they can tell the good superhero material from the bad, and this is yet another animated movie where it tries to be all hip and cool for the kids. And that's never what Scooby Doo was about, and I feel like even the movie realized this at one point. It's like the movie thought, oh crap, this is a Scooby Doo movie, we need to unmask someone. And then they do, and it was beyond pointless. It feels like it was a box there to check off, and that's it. Also, I haven't seen the infamous beam in the sky for a while now, but Scoob brought it back. And the movie ends with a cliffhanger which, if you ask me, feels like it's hinting that the next Scoob movie will be a new version of the Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. Only that movie takes tons of risks that I can't imagine the sequel to this movie would be willing to take. it's time for the score. Of all the different incarnations of Scooby Doo over the years, one thing that always stayed consistent was the dynamic between the characters and their teamwork. And here, the dynamic is completely gone. It only vaguely remains with Shaggy and Scooby, but it doesn't even exist with the rest of the team. And the whole falling out between Shaggy and Scooby was as forced drama as you could get, and it was an absolute joke. It's like they gave absolutely no effort to this part of the story and thought, it's a kids movie, let's just put anything in and they will accept it. And everything about it is so obvious, and their whole falling out ends exactly how you think it's going to end.
No, let me go first!
The best word to describe this movie is predictable, and if there's anything that Scooby Doo should not be, it's predictable. Add to that, the movie is an hour and a half, but it honestly feels like 2, and that's exactly what score I'm going to give this movie. Scoob gets a 2 out of 10. I know, that seems very harsh, but my gut reaction kept leading me to a 2. I was thinking of giving it a 4, but then I was thinking, this movie is not below average. Then I was going to give it a 3, but then I was thinking, why does it get a 3? What did I like that brings the score up that much? So my honest score is a 2 out of 10. There were a couple jokes that made me smile and I thought were funny. There was a bit of self-deprecating humor which I liked, but those things are so minor in comparison to the large amount of stuff that didn't work. So a 2 out of 10 is genuinely the most honest score that I could give it. As a matter of fact, right after I saw this, I went and watched Scooby Doo on Zombie Island, and that not only brought back so many memories, but it was a genuinely good Scooby Doo movie which had the characters behave like actual characters, and it felt like it really took advantage of the fact that it is a movie with a PG rating, unlike this movie. Throughout pretty much all of its interpretations, Scooby Doo never felt like a property that was talking down to its child audience. If anything, it was talking a level above them at times. But Scoob is a movie that felt like it was really talking down to them. And that's not something Scooby Doo ever did. And in that regard, I feel like this was unfaithful to its source material. So yeah, that's my review of Scoob, a movie that was released straight to digital, and that's exactly where it should have been released in the first place. This did not deserve to go in theaters. So stay tuned, as I have plenty of other content on the way, and trust me, I have not decided to stop all of a sudden, I promise. Thanks as always for watching, guys, and I will see all of you very soon. Take care.